to Traveling Beyond Boundaries, feeding my child while chatting about cruises. Cruise chat breakfast. Move you guys up a little bit. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Michele. I'm a Princess Cruises certified expert and a certified cruise counselor. And on Sunday mornings, we just chat about cruises in a very, very casual way. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, I do Princess Cruises info videos, like information, and I usually try to keep them like 5 to 10 minutes, pretty casual, but much more like professional. I mean, maybe not professional, but like more put together because there's editing involved. Whereas this is very low key. I also do cruise vlogs when we travel as well. So yeah. Go check out, I now have a private Facebook group that I'll be posting some more exclusive stuff because I am also a travel agent, and so I know like people on here don't necessarily want the travel agent stuff, so, and same with Instagram, so I'd much rather keep my social media as like information and like fun and whatnot, and then for those that are interested in booking cruises and more interested in cruise lines beyond Princess, I'm going to be posting those in the private Facebook group. The link for that will be in the description. But if you look up, I think it's called like Luxury Cruises by Traveling Beyond Boundaries. We're doing premium and luxury lines. So Princess is obviously my main one. That's the one that I sell the most of, and it's the one I'm most knowledgeable about. But also Virgin Voyages, which is an adult-only line. Viking is a river and ocean cruise line that's adult-only. Cunard, Holland America, Seabourn, Celebrity. That's kind of where I'm heading towards my sales stuff because that's the way we cruise. We cruise in the premium luxury, like that's our preference. And so premium lines like Princess and Celebrity and Holland America. And then more the luxury ones, Virgin Voyages, Cunard, Seabourn, Viking. So I am trained in all those except for Holland America and Virgin Voyages. Virgin Voyages is one that I am recently started training on, and Holland America I've done like part of the training, getting towards more of it, but training takes time. Anyway, especially because I put some of my like cruise line specific training on hold to do my overall certification as a cruise counselor, which is much more broad and much more like destination and not cruise line specific because it's through the Cruise Line Association. Anyway, before we get into the bucket list cruises, just want to say my daughter got her feeding tube out. Yeah, are you gonna clap about that? She got it out after like 2.5, almost 3 years of having a feeding tube. That was taken out, and she's healing great. So that was exciting. That's my exciting this week. I also painted, which I'm not a very good painter, but I painted a little bit more of my house because I had time off work this week. So anyway, bucket list cruises. I do have a list because I can't remember them all. And I'm going to start off with the ones that I am currently booked to do and talk about those a little bit, and then roll into the ones that I am just really, really extremely excited to do eventually. I'm going to try to keep this one a little short because I have an appointment in like 50 minutes. So I'm gonna try not to chat too much, but yeah. Anyway, let's get started. So the first one that I have booked, unfortunately it's not with Princess, it's with Royal Caribbean, which let me tell you, they've changed since I last cruised with them, and I'm not a fan. I shouldn't say last cruise. When I last cruised, when I was booking all my Royal Caribbean cruises, I had something in my mind of how they were back in 2015. And that's why I booked so many with them, and it turns out that I don't like them. But anyway, so I have one with them coming up to Norway as a Midnight Sun cruise. Princess has a better one that I wish we could switch to, but my full-time job won't let me leave during that time of year. So that one's in June that they have the Princess Midnight Sun one, and it's like 16 days. And basically you go up Norway and you do like the Norwegian fjords and stuff like that, but then you also get all the way past the Arctic Circle and the land of the midnight sun. And so I think theirs goes like during the solstice, so like the longest day of the year kind of thing, which is really cool. I really like that. Anyway, if we win the lottery in time, we are totally switching to that. We're cruising during, my daughter's birthday, and I don't know, I just love that one. So yeah, going above the Arctic Circle. That is like bucket list number 1, and it's gonna happen in July. Doing a back-to-back cruise. I don't know why, but I like really want that experience. Like we've done longer cruises, but I really want the experience of like everyone else or most people are getting off the ship and going home, but we get to stay on it. And so we have 2 back-to-backs booked. We have a back-to-back Eastern Western Caribbean for Christmas next year, so it'll be great because it's like, oh, we gotta do our Christmas cruise and then we gotta stay on and do our New Year's cruise. So that's on the Sky Princess, and so that'll be so nice. I just can't wait to like not have to get off a cruise ship. We are trying. We've done a lot of like 7-day cruises or like 11-day cruise. We have some 8-day, and like the Midnight Sun one that we're doing is 13 days. And so like we have like longer cruises, but to be able to be like, haha, suckers, and keep on. But we're really trying to do more longer cruises that are 3 or 4 weeks. That's our plan moving forward. And then that way we are only flying once. So doing a back-to-back, we can't wait for that. And then also the Mediterranean, we have booked on the Sun Princess for 2025, where that one is technically a back-to-back because it's like a 10-day and then 11-day or vice versa. But Mediterranean, like I'm really excited to see like Pompeii, and we're gonna do like a Rome tour. We do pretty light tours. My daughter has mobility issues and I am lazy as F. And the heat in the Mediterranean in August, July probably is amazing. It's probably like the coolest month of the year, right? So I don't handle heat well. So we're gonna do like easy cruises or easy excursions. Do you want some juice? Just to be able to see some stuff without actually dying of heat. We will be doing some stuff on our own as well, because we're only gonna be doing some excursions. Like Pompeii, Rome, Santorini, and somewhere in Turkey. Those are our ones. But that Mediterranean cruise, like we're doing the best of Mediterranean, and there's a lot of ones that hit up so many countries. It's amazing. Like ours will go to 7 different countries in 2 different continents. So it's just, I can't wait for that one. And then the last one we don't currently have booked, but I put it in my ones I know I'm doing. One is North-South Alaska. So if you haven't heard, I should put it in the description. But if you join the Facebook group, it's in there. Or if you look back on the community posts, it's in there. We are doing a group cruise to Alaska. And so we're gonna do a group cruise with Alaska, and then all our group people who want to get off are gonna get off. And we're gonna do a back-to-back of that same voyage. But then we're gonna do what's called a side-by-side. So instead of staying on the same ship, we're gonna go like loop with the group, loop by ourselves. Then we're gonna hop over to another ship and we're gonna do a North-South Alaska. So going from Vancouver to Anchorage and then Anchorage back down to Vancouver. That one just seems so nice. Like I love the whole like going really far north and then turning around and coming back. So that is on my bucket list, and that one we're doing 2026. Cruises for 2026 are not out yet, but knowing what we're not booking with Royal. Knowing what Princess does with their cruises and their itineraries, we can guess. Whereas like some other like Alaska's pretty consistent for Princess. Princess is like consistently voted number 1 for Alaska cruises. So they have like pretty much 7-day itineraries, and they have consistently the North-South cruise going north and south. So we're gonna time things up to be able to do that in 2026. And then into the I really want to do these cruises but I don't know when or how kind of list. Do you want some juice? Do you want more juice? Getting into those ones, and some of those are just logistics because of work, and some of them are just really expensive. So let's start off with the logistics one. So the Panama Canal. My aunt and uncle did a Panama Canal, and I don't think they did the full transit. I think they did the partial transit, but I really want to do the ocean to ocean. So either Fort Lauderdale to LA, or LA to Fort Lauderdale, or both. Doing that, doing the full transit. We looked at doing a partial transit for Christmas 2025, but it's like I kind of just want to do the full transit all the way around, or all the way through, and then like I said, maybe another time going back. That's high on my list. That's another one that you hit up quite a few countries, But it's just the Panama Canal. Like, I grew up in Niagara where we had the Welland Canal, and that was cool. I didn't realize how cool it was until I was an adult and was like, huh, that's pretty neat. But to go through the Panama Canal was really cool. And then Hawaii, and don't spit out the juice. Now you're gonna be all wet and sticky. Panama Canal, or Hawaii specifically, I really want to do. Both Panama and Hawaii are during times of the year that I can't cruise. Currently, with my current job, I cannot get time off to do those cruises. So these are like either lottery winning or when I can finally quit my job, which in the next 5 years or so, that hopefully will happen. But so Hawaii, but then also they have, so the Hawaii one's 16 days, but they also have one that goes to the Pacific. Sorry, a bit late. Hi to you both. Hello, Ruth. Emma's got her G-tube out. That's pretty much probably the only like exciting thing that you missed. Pacific to like Fiji and Tahiti and all those like islands over there. So that one's a 32-day cruise that goes like LA, for instance, to Hawaii to over there and then back. But in 2026, in January, I think it's January 2026, they actually have one that's like 52 days that goes LA to Hawaii to all those cool islands to Australia and New Zealand and back. So if for some reason I can manage, that's the best news. Well done both. Thank you. So if we can manage to get 52-day cruise in January of 2026, I'm totally doing it because that like is huge on my list because I really want to do Australia and New Zealand, but I really don't want to fly there at all. Like, we are trying to limit our flights. Flights are expensive and flights are boring. So if we can just cruise to Australia and New Zealand, that would be great. We would potentially do like a one-way cruise. This is the first time I've seen that cruise where it goes all the way to Australia and all the way back again as a round-trip voyage. They often will have repositioning ones going there or back. So if we weren't able to do a round trip like this one, if this one wasn't something we could do, I would do like fly to New Zealand or fly to Australia and then take the cruise ship back to it as a repositioning. Are you gonna eat it? Or are you just gonna look at it? Next, so transatlantic. So that would be like trans-Pacific. Also, we'll do a transatlantic. Princess doesn't offer these very often because they're always going to just be repositioning, but Cunard does it on a regular basis on the Queen Mary 2. They literally just go back and forth all year or all season. So we were thinking of doing it after our Norway cruise this year because we could technically do it, but prices right now are kind of steep for that. So I don't think we're going to do that, and I don't have travel agent rates for that one, unfortunately. Otherwise, we probably would because that would be, we really want to do a transatlantic. Scandinavia is another one we've looked at, like if we could cancel all the things ever and just cruise for do as many, if money and time were not an issue. There's one that we'd love to do that's the Midnight Sun one paired up with a Scandinavia one, and you go to like Denmark, Norway, Finland, Sweden, Germany, I want to say like Estonia or Lithuania or both. You just go to a bunch of cool ports in that little Baltic Scandinavia area, and that one's high on my list. That one we might try to do 2027. 2026 we're doing Alaska times a month for 28 days, but then we're thinking 2027 we're gonna try to do 2 cruises in Europe. The only reason we're not doing 2 cruises in Europe this year is because I booked a cruise, a Caribbean cruise with some friends that's a week after our Norway one. So it's kind of, or a week and a half after our Norway one. So we're kind of like not able to do a longer one. Otherwise we would tack it on because flight prices and flight time, just to spend that time and energy getting to Europe, we would rather do a month in Europe than just the 2 weeks that we're doing. But yeah, eventually we're thinking probably 2027 we're gonna do British Isles and Scandinavia is kind of what we're thinking of doing. That or Scandinavia and Spain and Portugal, or British Isles and Spain and Portugal. We're just gonna try to do a month of cruising in Europe. It's kind of our plan for 2027. Unless we win the lottery, and then all bets are off. Or if YouTube suddenly makes me millions. Anyway, the next one on my list is the Fire, Ice, and Greenland tour. This is one that I would consider as a transatlantic for Princess, and Fire, Ice, and Greenland. So you start in either New York or Southampton, and you hit up Iceland and Greenland, and you hit up usually St. John's, Newfoundland. And I'm Canadian, and we have been to every province except for Newfoundland, and so hitting it up via cruise ship is bucket list for me. Plus Iceland and Greenland, we are very much more focused on destinations, whereas before we were like, oh, just get us somewhere warm and tropical and having some fun. Whereas now we are very much like, we want to see the world, we want to see cool destinations, we want to go to places where nature exists, not just the same kind of like tourist trap Caribbean stuff. We obviously are still doing Caribbean stuff, and like Mediterranean is very heavily touristy, but there's lots of architecture and other stuff, and we're going for the history part of the Mediterranean. But yeah, we've kind of skewed more towards nature and beautiful things. So to see Iceland and Greenland are high on my list, and that one's cool because it is a transatlantic. So either New York to Southampton or Southampton to New York. And I want to say this one's like a 13 to 16 days, somewhere around that range. So we would probably tack on something else after that, just because, we always want to cruise for a month every year, or at least 3 weeks. Now on to another one. That one does happen in summer, so that one is something that potentially we can do, given my current work schedule, but yeah, so like it might even be like we do Scandinavia and then we do the Fire, Ice, and Greenland to get back to New York, something like that in 2027. It's also hard to, like, 2027 seems like really far away, but we'll be booking that this time next year because we're already looking to book for 2026. Anyway, next on my list are ones that, again, only happen when I'm currently at work, and that is the Antarctica ones. So ideally, I would like to do, there's an Antarctic one. I can't remember the cruise line. I should have written it down, but there's one that goes where you actually step foot on Antarctica. There's not a lot of cruises that actually do that. So Princess is not one that you can do that. They will take you to Antarctica, and you can see Antarctica from not a far distance. It's kind of like going to a glacier in Alaska, where it's like, oh, there's the glacier. You can see the glacier. And so you can see Antarctica, and that is definitely on my list. I wouldn't mind doing a Princess one that does that, but I really, really, really want to do one of the ones where you actually go and you step foot on Antarctica. Yeah, Emrys is nodding, yes. This is also cool because you go past the Antarctic Circle, and since we're doing the Arctic Circle this summer, it'll be cool to go past the Antarctic Circle and go down that way. But these only happen in winter when it's their summer, so it's kind of hard because I work all winter. Another one that we've looked at, that loving your bucket list, imagine winning the lottery, you can buy your own ship and cruise the world. I actually am so, I hate to say it, I'm cheap, and me and my brother have talked about, like, if we won the lottery, what would we do? And we would still just cruise with Princess and inside cabins. Is that horrible? Because we prefer inside cabins. We prefer the darkness. I think the only difference how we cruise now versus if we had unlimited time and money is we would take more cruises, especially those cruises that are on my bucket list that I can't do currently, and we would have separate rooms. Whereas right now, my brother, my daughter, and I share a room. So interior cabins, you get 2 twin beds. So my brother has his own twin bed, and then me and my daughter share a twin bed. And I am a big girl. My daughter is getting bigger and likes to hug the bed. So the only difference is that we would get our own rooms. So that way my brother can have a regular sized bed. Not that he cares, he's fine with a twin. But then me and my daughter can share a regular sized bed because she won't sleep alone. So I'm hoping eventually she will, like, we can take the mattress down from the bunk and put it down on the floor, and I'm hoping eventually she'll sleep down there. But knowing how she is, that is not likely going to happen, unfortunately. Are you ever going to sleep alone? No, she shakes her head. Oh, you're so funny. She might be nonverbal, but she's getting really good at the yes, no stuff. Yeah, so like that's pretty much the only difference. The other thing that we've talked about is like for some cruises, my brother would potentially get a balcony, or like the Sun Princess has a cabana room. So we would do like that, where my brother would get a room that's different, because my daughter is obsessed with water and I don't trust her not to try to jump off the balcony. Yeah, I don't trust you. So he would get like a nicer room, and then we would just be able to use his balcony. But yeah, like we're like, we just want to cruise, and we love Princess. And Princess, like, we wouldn't switch to a luxury line at all because we love Princess so much. They have what we like. We even were like, would we do like the Princess Plex package? That's so sweet. Emma saying no to sleeping alone. Yeah, that child of mine. Will you sleep alone? No. Nope. So yeah, so like we're like, would we do the Prince Plus package? And we're like, we probably would, just because then it's like, okay, well, whatever, like, but I don't know that we actually would. Like, we just very much are people that even with more money, we wouldn't upgrade very much. It would just be like having the freedom to do what we want when we want to do it. And that's the same as just like my goal of leaving my current career is not to make more money. My goal is to have the freedom to spend time with my child. Because even if it came down to not being able to cruise, like having to cruise every other year, but getting to spend the rest of the year with my child, that would be amazing. Like, it's just hard when I work so hard to become a mom. I'm getting off on a tangent here, but I worked really hard to become a mom, and to now be like, I get to spend like the weekends with her, and even then it's usually me trying to clean and catch up on housework and stuff like that, and then the evenings kind of. That's so true, the freedom and the time. Yeah, like having the freedom, and I mean, because we currently can only cruise during peak times of the year, prices are like double. Whereas if I could cruise off season, I could get significantly cheaper cruises, which means that we probably could still cruise the same amount, if not more. And we could do like last minute cruises aren't really a thing so much for typical people, but that's where travel agents can get some cheaper rates, is through some of the last minute cruises. Stop. I have a timer because I have an appointment at 10. Anyway, I'm gonna hurry up and finish up. But just like having those freedoms, like even I was like, we could do Alaska for like a month this year in May for ridiculously cheap. But I don't have the time. I don't have the time off to do that. Even like we were looking at doing a spring break cruise this year, and we ended up canceling it just because the flight prices and stuff didn't justify doing, and it was also with Royal on a ship we didn't like, but it was like the flight prices for a 7-day cruise, we're paying more for the flights than we are for the cruise. So it just didn't make sense for us to spend that money versus shoving that towards more cruises in the future. So, but if I was not working, I would be able to take, say, 2 weeks of a cruise instead and just tack on, because the longer you can cruise, the cheaper it is in terms of flights. Anyway, where was I going? So Antarctica, but there's one that was really cool that we were looking at that I want to say was 52 days, and it went from Florida to LA, not through the Panama Canal, but all the way, maybe it was 54, all the way down around South America. It hit up so many countries and was just incredible. And that one we were like totally on our list, especially because before we were like, well, could we do that one? And like, we're not going to Antarctica during that one. Would we just be like at the tip, I think Cape Horn, is that it? And being like, Antarctica's right over there. Like, would we be upset that we didn't go to Antarctica? And at first we were like, yeah, I kind of need to do an Antarctica one first. But now that we want to actually wait till my daughter's a bit older and actually step foot on Antarctica, we're like, yeah, we totally could do that one and get to see a whole bunch of stuff. And then later when she's older, maybe more mature, we can actually do the Antarctica stepping on one. So yeah, then big bucket list cruise it's kind of ridiculous. But I have to wait at least until my dog is no longer alive, because even the 50-something day cruises, I don't know, like leaving my dog that long. The month I'm okay with. She actually loves boarding. She loves where she goes for daycare. She probably has a blast, way more than she would sitting at home even. So I don't feel guilty about boarding her for like 28, 30 days, but to do like 50 days. Anyway, the last one on my list is a world cruise. Yeah. This one I wouldn't do as like my only cruise ever, because it's super expensive and you actually don't hit up all the places. Emrys, what are you trying to get? Do you want this? Is this what you're wanting? She's like, I don't want her to grab you guys and you guys stumble. Yeah, don't pull them down. No, we're not spitting out stuff. She wants to just make a mess. She's soaked already because she's spitting out juice and soy milk and stuff. Anyway, the world cruise travels around the world. So you can start in like Fort Lauderdale or LA. We would probably do the LA one just because we're on that side of the country, of the continent, I should say. We're in Canada, so we're by Calgary. Anyway, and so that one depends on the itinerary, but like there's like 111 days, 116 days, 119 days, like that kind of thing. I will give you more, just wait. And so that one cruises around the world. It doesn't hit up as much stuff as doing stuff individually, because it obviously can't, but it hits up a lot. It doesn't hit up like Antarctica. It doesn't do like the Norwegian fjords. Like it doesn't do more of the detailed stuff. It is just kind of going in a circle. You need to stop, please. I will feed you, but you need to wait. And so that is high on my list, especially because like, I mean, the world is not in a great place right now, so I wouldn't really want to go through like the Suez Canal right now. But to hit up some of the Asian ports, it's really hard with us with flying, because that's a really long flight. Been there, done that. I used to live in Korea. And so that's something that we're not really wanting to do anytime soon for flight wise. Whereas this, you get all that, and going through like going to Dubai and up that way and to like Morocco and stuff like that, which just are cruises that we can usually find for decent prices and stuff. So being able to go to some of those different places would be really cool. And so that one I'm doing. I'm saying I'm doing that one. Don't know when, but that is high on my list of a one-day cruise. Not a one-day cruise, but a one-day cruise. It's a really long cruise. So like being able to, one, afford it, because it is so expensive, but you also have like gratuities you need to cover. You have stuff like I would need an internet package, which I think they include when you do the world cruises. I would need stuff like logistics of how to manage my house, like to do a like almost 4-month cruise. There's a lot to it, and like I said, I would have to wait until my dog is passed, and she is 10 years old, and she's a Chihuahua, so she's probably got at least like 7 or 8 years left in her, I hope. So it'll be a while, but anyway, those are my bucket list cruises. Panama and Hawaii probably more likely to happen sooner rather than later. Although Scandinavia, Fire Ice Greenland, like those ones are hopefully going to happen 2027. British Isles. I didn't mention British Isles specifically, but it's kind of on my list, but not in like I have to do, because I feel like we're probably going to end up in the UK traveling in other ways other than just cruising. So a lot of the times, like the Greenland ones also hit up Scotland, and you start in Southampton, so you're starting in the UK. So anyway, I need to go because we have an appointment, and yeah, let me know in the comments below, where in the world would you like to take a cruise? And I will see you guys later. Say bye-bye. Off. Goodbye. Love you all.